Flurry here. I'm here today to do part 2 of my October reading wrap-up. This reading wrap-up will probably go live Friday or Saturday. It just depends on how many books I wind up reading to add to this, because I'm filming this in 2 parts. These books are all the books that I read in the tail end of the month, which involved 2 readathons and just some creepy reads that I wanted to tackle before the end of the month. So yeah, the first readathon I did participate in was Spookathon, which is hosted by Books and Lala, I think, and I wound up hearing about it from Owlcrete. So I ended up reading a couple of books for that. I think I ended up reading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books for that readathon, and then 2 complete books for the Spooktacular readathon on TBR and Beyond group. And I probably will have more books by the end of this video, so let's get into it. The first book that I wound up completing for Spookathon, was Tunnel of Bones by Victoria Schwab. And this book did 2 prompts. It did the one with red on the cover, and also it did the prompt for a spooky word in the title. This is the second book in the Cassidy Blake series, or the City of Ghosts series. The first book was in Edinburgh, Scotland, and this book went to Paris. I like these books, but I want the books to go a little bit more in depth with the world building. It's definitely a fun story. I really, really love the setting. I love the dynamics between the characters. I really love the relationship between Cassidy and Jacob. Jacob is a ghost. You learn a lot more about Jacob in this book, and I really enjoyed the mystery of this book. It was totally different from the mystery in the first book. And I really like the elements of the parents in this book because they had a little bit of a bigger role. I just think it's so cute. I really, really like it, and it's a great creepy read. Not too creepy. I'm not the biggest fan of like really, really creepy reads, but I found this to be a super cute read, and I'm giving it 4 stars, and I will definitely be continuing reading this series as well. The next book that I wound up reading for the Spectacular Readathon, the Spookathon, I'm going to get the 2 mixed up for this whole video because there's 2 different readathons I was a part of, was Winterwood by Shira Anchar. And this one, I think fitted for the prompt. It has a creepy setting. Over the summer, I read Wicked Deep, and I loved it. But it was great. I love the setting. I love the mystery. This book, the highlight of this book was definitely the dual point of views. I love that. I really loved this setting, which was this winter wood, or this wood was a setting. The mystery in this was a little bit too predictable for my liking, and maybe it's because I read or watched a certain movie. I don't want to give it away, because if I do it away, you're totally going to guess what the twist is. But I felt it was a little bit too predictable for my liking. But I really loved the characters. I really loved the setting. I thought the mystery was just not as strong and a little bit more predictable than I would like. So I wound up giving this book 3.5 stars because of the mystery, the predictability. But I really did love the setting. And if you're looking for a creepy read for the fall, I would really recommend it. Just the mystery didn't wow me as much as the Wicked Deep one did. And then the next book I wound up finishing for this readathon was Mooncakes by Wendy Zhu and Suzanne Walker. This is a book for books that I don't normally read, because I don't normally read graphic novels. But it basically is a very diverse read, like super diverse read. But it basically follows this young witch, and her best friend from a way back comes back, and they wind up having a relationship, maybe if not something more. Nova does have hearing aids. There is an LGBTQ relationship in this book. He's a wolf, she's a witch, and they both have to try to solve this mystery. God, the art in this book is so cute. It really reminds me of Princess and the Dressmaker, because I really love that art style. I love the world building in this as well, and I wound up giving this one 4 stars. I just wanted a little bit more of this book, just a little bit more. I really love the art. I love the mystery. I wanted the title to be a little bit more like connected to this story, and I'm really curious if we're going to get more in the series, because I really do love these characters. The next book that I wound up picking up was kind of a surprise to me, because I just wound up hearing about it on the TBR and Beyond, on the Owlcrete video, because they were doing their unboxing for Legends of the D-Box, and I actually did have the ARC. So I wound up picking up Malamander by Thomas Taylor, illustrated by Tom Booth. And this is just a book that takes place in a little town. There's two characters that wind up going on an adventure. There's a girl who was left at a lost and found in a hotel. There's a boy that runs the lost and found in the hotel. And the little girl wants to kind of find her parents. There are definitely like illustrations in this book as well. And they kind of go on an adventure to find this. And then there's this book dispensary that gives you a book that you need. It was just really, really cute. I really love the setting. It was definitely a mystery, definitely middle grade, but I will definitely be checking out book 2. It definitely had like vibes of like, I'm trying to think of a middle grade series that I read recently that I had vibes of. Kind of like Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Just very, very mystery based, very, very adventure based, very, very fast paced. But I wound up really liking it. The book that I finished for that spectacular readathon was Read a Thriller, and that was Mind Games by Shannon Silver. This was a science fiction adventure thriller novel, basically set in this world where memories are like you could buy, sell, and trade memories. And then one day this girl named Arden wakes up, and that's what she does. She kind of like sells memories, which is like totally illegal. And she wakes up one day and she realizes she doesn't have any real memories of the last couple of months of her life. And she keeps seeing this young boy that everyone seems to know except for her, like this teenager. And she kind of makes the connection that she keeps losing half her memories. And she kind of goes on an adventure with Sebastian to try to realize what keeps happening. And they also work together on this secret project that they have no memories of. And it's kind of like an adventure story and a thriller to trying to realize like what's going on basically. And what is happening to their memories because they keep vanishing. Every single day they wake up and they keep losing more and more memories. It was just really a fascinating read to read, like when the main character keeps losing their memories. It was really, really compelling. I thought the end was like a little bit rushed, but I really did love how the book was structured. That there are scenes where like you got these memories back that I really liked. It definitely does have a strong romance tie. There was a very, very strong romance element in this book. But I was really captivated by the mystery and the adventure story as well, and I would definitely read more by this author in the future. And then for the spectacular readathon, I wasn't as productive during that readathon, and I'm still in the middle of it. I'm still going to do my reading vlog for the end of the week too, so there will be more books added. But at the time of filming of this video, these are the books that I have completed or started. I did actually get this book from New York City Comic Con, Nancy Drew's Files #1, and this is a bind up of 3 of the old Nancy Drew stories, which is Secrets Can Kill, Deadly Intent, and Murder on Ice. I've always wanted to read all the Nancy Drew stories, and now I'm just making my progress. It's going to take me a while, and I don't know what editions. I have a bunch of different editions that I could, in theory, read. But yeah, so this one was a bind up of 3, and it follows Nancy when she's a lot older. I think she's graduated from high school, so she's college age. They have timed up the books, like there's cell phones and there's computers and stuff like that, which didn't exist when Caroline Keene wrote these. Out of these 3 stories, I really like Deadly Intent. I thought that was a really compelling story, and the setting in Murder on Ice was like one of my favorites. But the stories I struggled a little bit with some of them. The pacing was a little bit weird at some points, especially in Murder on Ice. The pacing was a little bit weird. And you don't really feel really connected to all the characters because it's kind of like a one-off. And the characters that you do see every single book, like Bess and George and Nate, they're like you don't care enough about the characters involved in the mystery to want to solve it, at least quickly. That was the thought that I got. So I wound up giving this whole collection 3 stars. The next book that I wound up just finishing last night, this one was for a mystery for that prompt. You had to read a mystery. And this is Read a Paranormal book. And I wound up picking up Wicked Fox by Kat Chow. And this is, for me, for a majority of this book, it really did scream Twilight vibes to me. but not in a bad way. It's just kind of how I like identify the book. I'll say that kind of how I like, categorize it in my head. But it basically follows this girl named Jumio, who is a nine-tailed fox, who is a Gumeo, who's a nine-tailed fox. And the only way she survives is she sucks the essence from boys or men, and that's the only way she can survive. She winds up crossing paths with a young boy named Jihu, and their paths wind up becoming inexplicably linked. And it's said on the back, if you like K-dramas, this would be a great read with a paranormal twist. I really did like that we got both characters' point of views. I really did like the myths in this book. I love the setting of Seoul, Korea. I don't read paranormal books for a very, very specific reason because I think that sometimes those relationships can be a little bit unhealthy. I found this book to be the total opposite of that, and I really liked it. I thought the pacing throughout this whole book was a little bit wonky, and it didn't like wow me the way that I was expecting it to wow me. But I did like it, and I would definitely read the second book in the series. Just the pacing was pretty off throughout the whole book. And there was some twist at the end. We're like, where did that come from? That makes no sense. But I did like it more than I was thinking I would like it. So I wound up giving this read 4 stars. And then I did wind up starting The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones, and I'm literally 10 pages in, so I really don't want to give you my thoughts on it quite yet. But that is my thoughts on all the books that I've read so far in October. I am going to come back on this and probably do my wrap up on Friday night or Saturday morning, so keep a nose out for that, and you'll probably see this wrap up Sunday. So I'll talk to you guys in the next clip to tell you what I wound up reading for the rest of the week. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Hi guys, I'm here to wrap up this reading wrap up. I just wanted to say that unfortunately I didn't get as much creepy reading done as I wanted. Between Wednesday and still today, I've been battling a really, really bad stomach virus. I'm feeling much better, but my focusing on books that have complicated world building has just not been happening. So, before I got sick, I did wind up finishing The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. This was the Owl Crate book for the month of September, and I wound up giving this book 4 stars. I thought it was a very interesting read. I really liked the setting. Basically follows this girl named Rin, who is a gravedigger, and the town she lives in is having a problem with the dead walking zombies. And she's on an adventure to try to save her town from these bone houses and to figure out what is happening and why they keep coming to her town. And then there's a gentleman named Elias who is a map maker who is determined to find out where he comes from. Their paths kind of cross in trying to solve this mystery. I really love the setting. It had such fairy tale elements that I really liked. I liked how it connected back to the past with telling of those fantasy stories. The highlight of this book for me was by far the characters. I thought the pacing at points was a little bit weird, and for a very, very short book, it did drag at points. But for me, I really did like it. I loved Emily Jones' previous book, and for a solid standalone, I actually really liked it. I thought that it was a great standalone. So I ended up giving this read 4 stars. After I finished reading this, I did wind up picking up Meddling Kids by Edward Cadero, but that was the day that I came down with my stomach virus, so I didn't wind up finishing it. And I knew I wasn't in the mood to read anything complicated, so I wound up picking up a non-creepy read on Halloween, and that was The Map from Here to There by Emery Lord. And I did actually wind up finishing this on November 1st, but I wanted to toss it into this wrap-up because I practically finished it in the month of October. And this is the direct sequel to The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord, and it follows Paige and her friends in their senior year of high school right before they graduate. And I have to admit, I really love this book. I thought this book was so solid. I found this book to be such a realistic portrayal of senior life. I really like seeing how these characters changed, and I just love seeing how all the relationships progressed. There was new characters introduced, which I really liked. New issues, new drama. Still very focused on Paige and Max, but also on all the other friends. There was new situations that developed that I really liked. I wound up giving this book 4.75 stars. This book didn't go to the point in senior year that I was expecting, which makes me hope maybe that we'll get like this will become a trilogy. But I really did like how she continued the story, and I will definitely would read a sequel novel because this book ends around spring break, and I want to know what happens at the end. There are some lingering questions that I still have. There's some the element of like a to-do list was introduced in this, and they didn't finish their list. We don't know where everyone's going to college, so I kind of want to know that. But overall, I wound up giving this 4.75 stars. So the end of my week did not go the way as planned, but I did get a lot of reading done, and I'm really happy. And I actually wound up finishing a couple of books early in the month because I'm kind of just sitting around relaxing and reading. But that's what I read, what I read for the month of October. Let me know in the comments what are some creepy and scary reads that you wind up tackling in the month of October. My highlight, I think, was probably Serpent and Dove at the start of the month, for sure. I really, really like that. Sisters of Shadow and Light, I really like that. Those are the two highlights that I could think of off the top of my head. Oh, Mooncakes, I really like that one too. But yeah, so that's my thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys at the end of November for that reading wrap up. Talk to you guys later.